Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a great start to their weekend. Students, this class is a members chat class. It is IELTS questions and answers for Band 9 success, meaning that this is a special class where members can ask me questions about the IELTS exam or about English to help you improve so you can get those high band scores for your next test. Welcome Saeed, welcome Arda. Good to see more members coming into the class. So again, as you're coming into this class, members, think about questions that are circulating in your mind, you're not sure of, you would like further clarity on, and I will do my best to help you out. Again, this class is brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. We've got lots of information on our websites and of course lots of help for you to improve your band scores. This is our academic IELTS website here. You simply just have to click this big red button right there to join the premium IELTS package. And then when you do that, you have a My Student account. And in your My Student account, you have lots of great information. You have computer-based practice exams, full interactive course, and it's a really good idea to use this full interactive course. And then you have paper-based exams, PDFs, lesson videos. You've got tons and tons of lesson videos for all sections of the IELTS. And then after all these videos, you also have audio CDs and additional services. So lots of help there for you. I'm just showing you that because it is a question and answer class, and I think a lot of your questions can also be answered by our materials on the website. For general IELTS, gieltshelp.com, click that big red button. Welcome Sanjay to the class. Now, as you're thinking about your questions, members, we will also do voice calls. So you can ask me a question by typing it into the chat, or you will be able to verbally ask me a question also. And if you don't get an answer today by some chance, you can send me an email. My email address is adrian@aehelp.com. Just send me an email and I will give you an answer within about 24 hours or so. Okay, students, so March 12th to 19th, the upcoming streaming week. So we've got questions and answers right now. Then we'll have a speaking part 3 class that everybody can join. Okay, so everybody will be able to participate. And then next week we have lots of classes. So you can see we've got lots of speaking, writing, reading, and you can also see our schedules on our Instagram. The Instagram is IELTS_AEhelp for academic and GIELTShelp for general. So check out Instagram, and then of course get our apps from your app store. So you can get Academic IELTS Help app or General IELTS Help app from your app stores. Okay, all right. And so again, this is a question and answer session, and simply we want to look at some questions here. Let me actually do it this way so you can see the questions. So you can actually see who's asking these questions. Okay, let's go into the chat here. Okay. All right. So let me see if I can do it this way here. All right. So all right, we've already got some questions coming in, and the first question here is let's see. It's coming from Rahul. I'm just going to show you. There we go. Okay. So now you can actually see what I'm seeing exactly. So you can see the chat here. Let's just grab the first question here. All right, so Rahul is asking a question. Sorry, Sanjay is asking the first question. So Sanjay is asking, it's about true, false, not given. Okay. Okay, let's take that. True, false, not given. So here is Sanjay's question. Let me copy it out so you can see it bigger. It's about true, false, not given. I follow a method such as SOV. Okay, Sanjay, can you tell me what SOV stands for? Let me see if I can get that. Here's the true, false, not given. Let me see this method. This method is news to me. I'm going to be honest with you, Sanjay. So I'll see if it makes sense, and then I'll tell you what I logically think is true or not true about it. All right. Okay, so this is Sanjay's complete question here. Okay, so my question is about true, false, and not given. I follow a method such as subject, object, verb. Okay. Subject, object, verb. If two of them I can't find in the passage, I write it as not given. Is this helpful? Example, Ram plays football. If passage is only talking about Ram, not about play and football, in my point of view, it will be a not given. If I write true or false as yes or no, is it right or wrong? All right, so we've got lots of good questions here. Okay, Sanjay, let me answer this for you. I can definitely give you a clear answer here. All right. So searching for specific words, okay, or specific grammar is not going to help you in true, false, not given, Sanjay. All right. So let me jump over here. So in true, false, not given, searching for specific words or grammar, such as subject plus verb plus object. Let's write it as usual English here. Plus object will not necessarily give you the right answer. Okay, so I don't recommend this technique. This, I would call it a trick, because it is slow and the passage is paraphrased, both with words and with grammar. Okay, so you might see something like this. Okay, let's take your example, Sanjay. So Sanjay says the example is Ram plays football. If the passage is only about talking about Ram, not about play and football, it becomes, in my point of view, not given. Yeah, but Sanjay, you might see something like this. He plays football. And now you don't see the actual subject, Ram, but you see a pronoun. Okay, or you could see something like this. Football is very popular in the city. He is the captain of the team. Okay, so you might see something like that. So if he if he is captain of the team, then I know that he actually plays football. Okay, so if I'm searching here, it would take me a really long time to find this answer. And basically here, the fact that Ram plays football is coming not from one, but from two sentences. Does everybody see that? And in fact, IELTS true, false, not given will often have one or two questions where you need to understand more than one sentence in the passage in order to understand whether or not the statement is true or false, okay? Some of the easier true, false, not given questions, this might work, but not for all of them, certainly, okay? So I would not rely on this for two reasons. One, it's a hit and miss technique, and two, it is slow. Okay, so that's why I wouldn't do this. Okay, this is a hit and miss technique, and it could be very slow to yield an answer. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I mean, you know, if Sanjay, if you feel like this technique is really working for you, test it out. That's my other suggestion. So whenever you find new strategies online and from teachers, test them out. Check to see if they are valid and reliable. Okay. All right. Sanjay says not too much. All right. Okay. Well, that kind of answers it on its own, Sanjay. So if you're using this technique and you're not really finding it useful, you're not really improving your scores, then that will also give you an indication of whether or not that's working for you. Okay, so I still think the best technique for true, false, not given is simply figuring out if it's given or not given by understanding whether or not it's important for the passage, and then figuring out whether it's true or false by logically thinking and understanding the passage. Okay, and then this was a second question that Sanjay just asked. So Sanjay asked, if I write true or false instead of yes or no, is it wrong? The answer here is yes, it is. Okay. So answer yes, it is wrong. Okay. You cannot write yes or no if the question is true or false. These are actually considered two different types of questions by the IELTS, even though they're very similar. So yes, it is wrong. You cannot make this mistake in the computer-based exam because you actually just click on a little button, like you don't actually type true or false. But you can make this mistake on the paper-based exam. So pay attention, okay? Don't lose easy marks. Okay, yeah, you will get it wrong. Okay, the instructions are very important and they're very specific. So if it asks you to write true or T or F, you can't write yes or no, Y or S, because they're not exactly the same word. So be really careful, okay? All right, so those were some good questions by Sanjay, right? So Sanjay, yeah, true, false, not given. I know people are really looking for like strategies that, you know, work, but at the end of the day, you just really have to comprehend the passage and use good logic, a good string of logic to figure it out. Okay. Yeah, Rahul, I see that you have a question as well. So here, let me show you. I'm being as fair as I can, going in order. So Sanjay was right here, and now I'm looking at Rahul's question. So Rahul's question is, hello sir, I had given the exam in August 2019 where I had received 8.57, 6.5, and 6.5 bands in the listening, speaking, writing, reading, writing respectively. My requirement is 8.777 and giving an exam in the next 10 days. Can you help me with any inputs? Yeah, absolutely, Rahul. Okay, sure. I can give you a couple of important pieces of advice, okay? So, again, this is Rahul's question here. So Rahul obviously needs to improve by at least a half band in the writing and speaking, okay, which are usually the most challenging, okay? All right, so here's an interesting thought for you. It's an answer and it's a thought as well, Rahul. So if you need a score of 8,777, your goal should actually be 8.5, 7.5, 7.5, and 7.5. What I mean by that is, so this means that when you are doing practice exams and assessments, so Rahul, if you book like a speaking interview with me or someone else, or you send your writing to a person to get assessed, then you should be getting band 7.5 at least 50% of the time, okay? So this means that when you're doing practice exams and assessments, you should be scoring above your requirement at least 50% of the time, okay? This will give you a realistic chance to earn your desired band score without sitting the IELTS exam multiple times and spending a lot of money. Okay, so if you're just reaching 6.5, then I recommend, Rahul, making sure that you get those higher band scores in your speaking and in your writing before you go sit your exam. So luck is not going to be enough to get you that half band score, especially when it's on 2 sections and your reading section was right at the cutoff too. And I feel for you because I know how painful it must be to miss that that cutoff by half a band. But really the trick is that you have to try to go for a little bit of a higher band score if you need these scores. So you really want to practice, find your areas of weakness, focus on those areas of weakness, and then improve on those so that you can get those slightly higher band scores at least some of the time, okay? So again, remember what I just said. So identify your areas of weakness and really focus on these to get the higher band score. Okay, so if it's spelling in the writing, then work on your spelling. If it's your grammar, work on your grammar. If it's fluency in your speaking, then work on that, okay? All right, students, so I think, let's switch to some voice calls. I'm typing lots. Fingers are all warmed up, so I think maybe it's time to warm up my ears a bit. And I'm going to take some volunteers. Like I definitely see that we've got some more questions. So Arda's got a question. Miyen has a question. So yeah, that's great. And I can answer all of those while you practice a bit of your English speaking. So you've typed them. Now just ask them verbally, and I can see that there are a lot. So to volunteer for questions, I think members, most of you know how to do this, okay? So go to the website, aehelp.com, register an account, okay? And then go to your My Student account. And this will be a nice way to warm up for the next class, right? Because we have speaking part 3 coming up next. So click on Student Partner Speaking. I will be looking for the members that are asking questions. Enable your microphone, and then of course message me. Just ping me, Master. You'll see me as Master. Just go, I have a question. You can say, I want to volunteer, or you can just say, I have a question. It's a bit more accurate in this context, okay? So let's do this. Let's hop over to the website. Okay, it's the general one. You can do it in the general one, by the way, as well. It'll work just the same. Here's the academic one. I'm all logged in already, so let me show you what to do if you're not logged in. Okay, so if you're not logged in, you can click again on these buttons right here to register a paid or a free account. And then when you do, at the top there, you have your My Student account. And then in your My Student account, you have this Student Partner Speaking. That's right there. Okay, click on that Student Partner Speaking, and then you'll be in here. Okay, so Saeed is in here, Manguberti is in here, False is in here, and I think False is one of our members. Maybe it's Saeed. So if you have a question, okay, then just let me know. I can see Mia's in here. Okay, Arda has a question. Hi, Arda. Okay, let's get this question from Arda.
Hello.
Hi, Arda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for asking. All right, Arda, I see that you have a question. Fire away.
Yeah.
How can I help you?
I wasn't sure if I should take the computer-based IELTS exam or paper-based IELTS exam. I actually am a fast typer on my keyboard, but I was curious about the differences between those.
Yeah, and a lot of people are. So there's definitely advantages and disadvantages to both of them. Have you done exams on the computer in the past, in school, in
Not in school, but I actually did some practice tests on my computer.
Okay, yeah, maybe some online courses. Were you doing quite a bit of school online during the pandemic, the IELTS pandemic? Like, did you do remote school?
Yep,
You did, okay. Yeah, so I think that's common for a lot of people. So that means that, you're getting more used to learning through a screen and doing operations through a screen as well, right? A lot of people, because of the pandemic, have spent more educational time with a computer, which of course is good practice, if you will, for the IELTS computer-based test. So another question, you said you can type quickly. Can you touch type? That means, can you type while looking at the screen? So do you look at your fingers when you're typing, or do you look mostly at the screen?
No. I look at the screen, yeah.
Perfect. That's a very important question for the writing part, because in writing, to process your thoughts, your thinking, it's really important that you're looking at the screen and not your fingers when you're typing an essay. Just like in paper-based, you'd be looking at your hand as you're writing, okay? So I think definitely I would recommend the computer-based exam for you in this case. It sounds like you're comfortable with the computer. You can type well with the computer. It's easier to, so how should I say this? Your chance of making mistakes is lower in the computer-based exam because of the way that it's set up. So just like that previous question that Sanjay asked with the true, false, not given, in the paper-based exam, you could actually make that mistake of writing a yes instead of a true. But on the computer-based exam, you can't, because you just click the little bubble for true, if I remember correctly, right? Also, for example, like if you're worried about losing marks for capitalization, like writing big letters or small letters, in the computer-based exam, you can literally just hold down or hit the caps lock button and then type all capitals for the reading and listening. Don't do that for the writing, though, okay? So in the writing, you have to use proper capitalization. So I think that's definitely a bit easier. Here's an important question. Do you use a British QWERTY keyboard?
Oh, that's a good question, because I have both of them. Like, I usually switch when I need. Like, if I need my Turkish keyboard, I usually switch to it. But like most often, I use my English keyboard.
Yeah, that's really...
And they're like different buttons.
Yeah, they are, of course. I have one that's a hybrid British QWERTY with a Hungarian keyboard, because I type in both languages as well. So I have a hybrid keyboard, and I know that when I switch between them, sometimes I make strange mistakes because not all of the letters and buttons are the same, obviously. So when you're going for the computer-based IELTS exam,
Hmm.
it is a really good idea to stay with the British QWERTY keyboard for at least a
Yeah.
few days before the exam and never switch, just so your brain is really fixed on that
Yeah.
British version. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. True.
Yeah, because it can be awkward especially in the writing section where you're writing fluently and then you keep hitting a
Yeah.
different button. It's really
You might lose
frustrating.
some time.
You lose some time and you can make some typos that you otherwise wouldn't make. So yeah, so definitely that's important. Um, what else? Yeah, with the computer, there was something that I remember when I was doing, because I did the computer-based exam in February of 2021, and uh, the the one advice when you do the computer-based exam
Hmm.
is use the tab button. You know the tab button that's kind of up at
Yep.
the
I do.
top left on the
Yeah.
keyboard. It helps you to jump through questions or jump through parts. So become really familiar with the tab button, because you can actually lose your position in the listening section, especially when you're using the mouse and you're trying to click to other places.
Yeah.
So the mouse clicks I found were a little bit distracting during the computer-based exam, especially during the
Hmm.
listening section. So it's good to be able to use the tab button to jump to the next question instead of using
Yeah.
the mouse click.
It would be quicker also.
Yeah, and I actually found that I well, I was quite fast, so I was able to kind of reposition myself. But I could see that how I could easily miss a question because of the mouse and kind of searching with the mouse for where I'm clicking. So it's faster, it's easier. So use the tab button for sure
Hmm.
during the listening. But yeah, I would definitely recommend the computer based exam if you've got good typing skills and you're comfortable with the computer. Definitely the computer based in that case.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Great question. I think that helps a lot of people. So thank you for asking that question,
Yeah.
Arda, and hopefully
You're
we'll
welcome.
see you in the next class as well.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye. All right, so that was Arda with a very good question. Yeah, Saeed says tab is very useful. Yeah, so whoever has taken the IELTS exam, if you've done the computer based, you learn very quickly that the tab button becomes very useful in that computer based exam. Okay. All right. Um, let's see who else. Me has a question. Okay, me. Let's see. Yes, of course. Okay. By the way, students, before we get started here, I just wanted to show you something, show you a useful tool, I should say. There's this website called Rapid Typing. Okay, the URL for this website, it's called Rapid Typing. It's absolutely free. rapidtyping.com. It's completely free. Okay, there's no promotion here or anything. It's just a beautiful ancient piece of free software that you can use to improve your typing if you want to sit the computer-based exam. So this is what the page will look like. You can download it, install it, and start using it. It's really nice for getting you ready for the computer-based IELTS exam and getting you familiar with the QWERTY keyboard. Okay. All right. Okay. So that was a bit of a side note, but let's get back to your question. I'm going to call you, Me. Hopefully you're there and you can pick up. Hi, Me.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks.
All right, awesome, Me. So you have a question for me?
Yeah, okay. So I have a question about the websites, like about the editing service.
Mm-hmm.
To be precise, like if I use the questions that are not on the list in the website, like how can I do that? And do I have to pay extra money?
Okay, good question. Good question. So, no, you do not need to pay extra money. And yes, you can absolutely ask a question. Just so that everybody's clear, I'll show this, okay? So I'll show everyone what you're asking me, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, what is me asking? Okay, so you have on the website these task 1, task 2 editing services. And when you click on these green buttons, up comes this page. And then here you can select a question like Earth diagram, and then here you have a task 1 question with a diagram, and then here you can type this diagram depicts the layers of the Earths. Okay, and then you can submit that for proofreading and editing. And I will show what that looks like. Whoa, okay, there's my typing. All right, so you can submit that, and then when you submit that, right, then this will be 54 cents because it's 6 cents per word. You enter your credit card information and you're off to the races. Now, if you have a different question, like if you have a question from the Cambridge book, for example, right, then it's not in this list, but you want to do that one anyway. Then what you need to do is just email that question or that diagram. So send it by email to admin@aehelp.com, and then just put your essay into this processor, and then just pay for the essay only the same way as you would for this one. Okay, so
Okay.
does that make sense? Okay, so so here let me type that up for you as well, just real quick. Okay, so if you have I've got all this highlighting and everything going on. Okay, let's go from here. So if you have a task 1 or 2 question that is not on the website, simply send it by email. And our editors, sometimes it's me that's editing. I've got a couple other people who help me, but we can match it up. So we'll match up like, okay, that's the question for that essay, and it's not a problem. So that is not simply send it by email, and let us know that you submitted an essay for editing. Okay, and then you get back the edit. Since I'm gonna take the opportunity for your question to actually show students what they get. Okay, so give me a question. Have you used it, Can I ask? Have you used the editing service?
No, I haven't used it, so I asked you to
Okay.
know how to use it.
Okay. I am going to access that in a second. Yeah, it's a really good service. I think for some people it seems a little bit expensive at first, because if at 6 cents per word, that means that if you write like 150 words, task 1, it's $9. And if it's 250 words, then it's $15 US, right? Those are the minimum. And of course, it's because we're working with, the cost of work in the West, in Canada and the US, and you can't have an editor working for less money than that. But it is worth doing it at least once or twice before your IELTS exam, just to get a good idea of where you're making the most mistakes, where the weaknesses are. And I would recommend people to do it at least like a month or 2 before their exam, so they have time to improve on their writing. I'm just opening up an example here, so let me just give me 2 seconds. Okay. All right. Here is. Okay, so here's an example of what you would get for this is a task 1 general submission here by a student, and you can kind of see the way that it works. So this person answered a task 1. It's like a letter, and then obviously here you have the corrections, and then here you have comments of what the mistakes are, and then after the edited version, there's a final version that you look at, which is the clean version. And then we give further information at the bottom here. This work would score a band 6 before correction, 7.5 after. And then we grade it according to the IELTS criteria. So task response, coherence, cohesion, and then some key points that we understand by looking at the essay, like reviewing the use of gerunds versus infinitives is weak for this student, using a paragraph form instead of a bullet point form, paying careful attention to finishing ideas. So for this student, if they make those corrections, they would get a better band score, obviously. So that's kind of what let's say like that would be about $8 or $9 to get this kind of an edit. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're very, very
I have,
welcome.
and I have one more question about the IELTS.com also. Can I try the computer-based exam on the website, like for three skills, like reading, writing, and listening?
Yeah, you can. So for reading, writing, listening, of course, yeah. And then speaking is always face-to-face, even for the computer-based exam. So you can, yeah, on the website, if you go to the first tab, that's where you will find it. So here in the computer-based exams. So you kind of go through these and it will work on your mobile. It looks a little bit different, the format, than your official test, just for logic purposes. Like you can't, so the computer-based test that you do, the official one, there is no mobile version because it doesn't exist, right? So, but for a website, so many people are using the mobile that we have to create an adaptive or a responsive version that works on your mobile as well. But again, and I think this goes back kind of to Arda's question, if you are doing a computer-based practice exam, or sorry, if you're doing a computer-based exam, make sure to practice on a computer, not just on a tablet or on a phone, because it's a different experience, okay?
Okay.
All right, but yes, you can use them there, okay?
All
right, me. And if you have any other questions about the website, just send us an email anytime, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you for your questions, me. Have a good day.
Have a nice day.
Thanks, bye. Okay, that was me. So me asking about what's going on with the website there and some of our services. Yeah, lots of services on the website, students, so check those out. Okay, let's see. We have some other questions. Saeed has a question, I believe. Let's see. Okay, let's give Saeed a chance to answer. All right. Hopefully you are ready, Saeed, with your question. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Saeed. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you, sir?
Doing quite well also. Thank you for asking. So how can I help you, Saeed? What can I help you with?
So I was curious to know about the validity of IELTS certificate because, you know, here in Uzbekistan, I've heard that the validity of IELTS certificate decreased from 2 years to 1. Is it true or not?
That's a great question. And my very, very honest answer is I don't know. However, what I can tell you is that standard for the IELTS certificate's validity is 2 years. So internationally speaking. So internationally, when you have an IELTS certificate, then it is considered as valid for 2 years, which makes sense because your English level doesn't change too much in a 2-year period. So if you have a band 7 level, then you're probably still pretty close to a band 7 even after 2 years of not using the language that much. After that, it definitely starts to decrease, right? So that's what they're worried about. If somebody has, you know, band 7, band 8, but then they don't speak English for 2 years, so their English becomes worse. Or the opposite. They use a lot of English and their English is actually a lot better. So the certificate doesn't reflect their true level, which is not to your advantage, right? Now, having said that, Saeed, you have to check. So even though IELTS says that their certificate is valid for 2 years, it's actually the place of registration that reserves the right for validity. So some workplaces will say, we want an IELTS certificate that's 6 months or less.
Really?
Yeah, some workplaces, yeah, because they want to know your English now, not 6 months ago, okay? So you have to check with the place that you're actually planning to apply. most immigration centers like Immigration Canada or Immigration Australia will accept the 2-year validity. But for universities, for example, for the academic IELTS, I know there are lots of universities that want the IELTS certificate to be 1 year or less. So even though IELTS says it's 2 years, the university can say we want it to be 1 year or less, and then it has to be that, right? Okay. And there's logic for that, right? University is very competitive. They want a precise English, not a kind of a precise English. So they want to know what your English is within the last year, right? So you have to check. And here's another interesting answer for you. Some places don't really care. Some places will say, even if it's 3 years old and expired, they will still accept it. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There are places where it's not the end of the world if your IELTS certificate is expired, as long as you have it. So you just have to check with them. It's less common, but places like that exist as well. I've heard of people applying for certain jobs where they said, okay, it's fine, it's 3 years old, no big deal. Because they do they'll do an interview, right? They'll do like a job interview, and then they'll know anyway. So if you have an IELTS certificate that's 3 years old and you want to get sponsored for a work visa or something, and they'll say, okay, well, let's do an interview. If your English is still good, then we'll take the certificate, not a problem, right? So even though IELTS says 2 years validity, it's not etched in stone. You know this idiom, not etched in stone?
Yeah.
It means it can change depending, right? So check with the place. The best guarantee is always check with the place where you're applying, right?
All right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
And actually, I got one additional question. Like a bit silly one, but can you like drink water during the speaking interview?
Yes, absolutely. So you can take with yourself into the speaking and it's a good idea to do that. You can take water into both the sitting version or the sitting part of the test, which is the listening, reading, writing.
Listening, reading, writing.
And the speaking. So you can take water into both, but and you can take an eraser, a pencil, and a pen. So those are the items that you can actually have with you. Okay, eraser, pencil, pen, and water. But you cannot have writing on any of these. Okay, so you can, if you have a water bottle, like that you bought in the store, for example, a bottle of Dasani or Aquafina or something, then you have to take the label off the bottle. Okay, if you walk in, but they'll tell you that. So when you go and register, and you can show it to the people there, you can say, this is my water bottle, is it okay? And they'll say yes. Or if it's got writing all over it, like the definition of the word convey is, and it's written on the side of your water bottle, they'll say, no, that is not okay, sir. You cannot have a dictionary on the side of your water bottle. Okay, so they're really paranoid, I guess, about I don't know how much made in China would help you on the side of your eraser, but they prefer you not to have that kind of writing on anything that you take into the exam with you. Okay.
All right, get it.
Okay, but take water with you, and be careful how much you drink. You want to hydrate, so you want to drink enough that you're not thirsty. It also helps you to stay calm. I would recommend having cold water, because cold water makes us alert and calm in the moment. So having a bit of cold water, not ice cold, like it shouldn't freeze your throat, but cold water, and don't drink so much that you have to run to the washroom, because of course that's uncomfortable and inconvenient as well, right? But yeah, and you can even use the water bottle to buy time. Like if you get a question, if you get a question in part 3 that's kind of tricky, you can pick up your water bottle and be like, just a moment, I just need to wet my whistle. And then you wet your whistle. That's an expression in English, by the way. I'll throw that up for everybody. So, and you can even buy time that way. It's kind of a clever little trick. So you can say, just a moment, I need to wet my whistle. Okay? Which means, it's an idiom that means I need a drink of water. It basically also tells the person that your throat is dry, so you're having difficulty speaking, right? You could be professional about it too. You could just say, just a moment. I need a sip of water. My throat is quite dry. And of course, while you're saying all of this, you should be thinking about the answer to the question, right? So not about the water, like, ooh, water, but actually thinking about your answer to that question. So if you're getting a question where, you know, it's a little bit tricky and maybe there's some vocabulary that you need to come up with in your head. Yeah, but don't do it like, you know, and I'm not saying
too often, yeah.
Yeah, like don't do like every question. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to. The person will be like, is this person okay? Like they're just, you know, are you here for the speaking exam or are you here to drink water? So once or twice, it's fine. Just take a moment to take a sip of water, think about it, slow yourself down, focus, right? So it's a good technique for sure. Good questions, Arda. Thank you. Or sorry, Saeed. Thank you for those questions. Those were great.
All right. Thank you too, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Okay. So that was Saeed with some very good questions about drinking water during the IELTS exam and what to do there. That was fantastic. Okay. So let's see if we have any more questions. Amrit has a question, I think. Okay, Amrit, why don't you ask me with your voice? Here we go. Are you there? Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Amrit.
How are you, sir?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am doing great, sir. Thanks for asking.
All right. Amrit, you've got a question for me, and I see it there, but I'd like you to just ask me verbally. So ask me your question, and I will do my best to give you an answer.
Okay, sir. Sir, I sit 2 times in IELTS exam, but I always stuck like a 5.5 band in writing. But I use some vocabulary, and sir, I want to know about how to improve my writing, like, and even I watch your all videos, like writing task 1 or 2.
Yeah, so when you're really stuck in writing and you're not sure what's going on, this is exactly the time that you should be using a professional editing service for the IELTS, like what Me was asking about. So when I was showing this editing that I just put up here again, I would highly recommend spending a few dollars. And I mean, you know, I don't want to sound like an advertisement here. So even if you don't send us your writing, but if you send it to another professional, make sure that they do quality work. Okay, not all places do quality work. Make sure that they specialize in the IELTS exam. But I think it's definitely a good time for you to send a professional IELTS expert your writing where you get detailed feedback like this so that you can see where you're making those mistakes and then you can really work to improve those mistakes. Sometimes the mistakes that are quick to correct in like a 5.5 to a 6.5 essay are in the introduction. So writing an indirect thesis versus a direct thesis. So a lot of students, for example, write essays with, in this essay, I will discuss these points and my opinion. Okay. Do you ever do that, Amrit? Do you ever write that thesis? Like, do you ever write in this essay, I will discuss?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so unfortunately, like that kind of writing, so when an examiner sees that sentence, in this essay, I will, and we talk, this isn't just me telling you this, I talk to lots of IELTS examiners. I have some colleagues, some friends who are IELTS examiners, and they tell me, they say, as soon as we see that sentence, in this essay, I will discuss these points and give my opinion, right away they're thinking like maximum 6.5, because that's not good writing. Okay, so for a band 6, 7, 8, you have to write good thesis statements, good topic sentences. So my first advice to you, Amrit, is stay away from templates. Okay, like do you write, for example, do you write like on the one hand in one body paragraph, and then in the next one you write on the other hand? Do you do that? Do you know what I mean?
Hey, can you repeat, sir, please?
Yeah, so when you start body paragraph 1, do you write like on the one hand and then something something, and then body paragraph 2 you write on the other hand something something something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I
so
do.
yeah, so because you're writing these kinds of template essays, you're going to have a very difficult time to get over a band 6, 6.5. And if you're making some grammar mistakes and some word mistakes, then you're always going to get a 5.5. So IELTS examiners don't give high marks for essays that look like a copy of an online essay that they saw. Okay, so
Okay.
Mhm.
But I am not use template. But I use like however in second paragraph like.
Yeah, template expressions, right? And you have to try to stay away from these template expressions. So again, these are just a couple of quick tips, Amrit, that I know a lot of students make these mistakes or use these kinds of lower level writing techniques. So you have to use better writing techniques to get into that 6.5 to 9 range. You have to write a direct thesis. You have to have an effective leading expression, so not necessarily something like on the one hand, but something more accurate. So the best way for me to give you exact advice on this is for you to send us your essay and then get this kind of editing. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so I strongly recommend that, Amrit. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, even I get a 6.5 band. How much vocabulary use in writing, like in 6.5 band?
For vocabulary,
Yes, sir.
it's difficult to say because you can write a very good essay with a few words and you can write a really bad essay with a lot of words. So it's not just about the amount of vocabulary that you're using, but it's how you're using that vocabulary. It's even more important, okay? But if you forced me to, if you like said, Adrian, you have to tell me like how many words do I need to use, right? Then I would say you need at least a vocabulary base of like 2,500 words in English to write a 6.5 essay, okay? So you
Okay,
need at
sir.
least about 2,500 words in English, okay, for a 6.5 essay. All right.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. Good questions, Amri. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, sir,
Okay.
for
I'll
giving me a
talk to you
chance.
later. Absolutely. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, bye, sir.
All right. That was Amrit. Thank you for those questions. So very good questions so far. Saeed with IELTS validity and drinking water now. Amrit with the requirements for better writing scores. Students, I'm going to stop there, and I kind of see our questions have somewhat dried up as well. Fitsum, I do see that you have a couple of questions maybe. Fitsum, send me an email, okay? I'll show you again where you can send that email. So my email is, if you didn't hear an answer to your question, my email is right here. It's Adrian at aehelp.com. Again, students, our websites are aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. So make sure to visit us there and use the premium course. So again, the websites look like this when you log in. You'll kind of see this page here, and just click on that big red button right up there to join our premium package. General IELTS looks like that. Coming up in 30 minutes, everyone, we've got some speaking part 3 practice. And for speaking part 3, we will be doing lots of volunteering, lots of voice calls. You're very welcome, Jainil Cass. I'm glad that I was able to put a smile on your face, and same with Arda. So hopefully I will see all of you in the next class, okay, in our Speaking Part 3 class. And hopefully we'll get lots and lots of volunteers. So have a good break and see you soon. I'm Adrian. I will be back in 30 minutes. Bye for now.